what do you feel is your honest opinions on festivals? And that may seem like a loaded question, but what do you think? Where are they trending to? And you know, you were so much out there with your other films and everything else too, and now with this one, how do you feel about them? I guess would be sort of my question, and where they're trending maybe.
Well, I mean, I did an entire course called Film Festival Hacks about this, talking about film festivals. I've talked about film festivals ad nauseum through my podcast, and my feelings on film festivals is this: everyone's gonna submit to Sundance and South by Southwest, and they're gonna submit to the top 5 or 6. Why? Because it's a lottery ticket. Maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. Chances are you got a better chance of getting hit by lightning than getting into a festival like that. Just purely on the numbers. And I've been involved with films that have had that lottery ticket win and go to Sundance with projects I was involved with. And it's amazing when it happens, but it's super rare. And I also saw what happens afterwards, where it's not all what it's cracked up to be. Mm-hmm. You're not living large in the hills of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Just because you won a couple of awards at Sundance. It doesn't mean anything nowadays. But in general, there's those top tier film festivals. Then there's the second level of film festivals, which are all amazing and all well and good. And then they go down to third tier and fourth tier festivals. My feeling with festivals in general is this. If you've never gone through the process, never gone to a film festival with your movie and had an audience watch it, it's a wonderful experience. Yeah. It really is. It's a joyous experience. Depending on the festival, how cool the festival is, how much they really care, things like that. It's an amazing experience. Like CineQuest, I'd never been to CineQuest before. They are wonderful. They really care about the filmmakers. At every screening, there's somebody there to make sure there's a Q&A afterwards. There was a festival here in LA when I did Broken. I hold grudges, as you can tell. When I did Broken, I had my film in there. I flew out to LA. It cost me probably like $800 to fly out here, $1,000 total. Me and my partner. We flew out here, put ourselves up, went to a screening at wherever, I think it was Man's Chinese or something like that, or wherever it was, right? We go to a screening, and at the end of the screenings, no Q&A, no nothing,
really?
and they just kicked us out. And then I'm there with other filmmakers that were in my block, and he's like, we flew in from Spain. But there's a lot of that, and that's an example of a bad film festival. So there are a lot of festivals that just want the admission money, the submission money, and they don't care about the filmmakers. And there are other film festivals that are awesome, like CineQuest, who care about filmmakers, who want to help filmmakers, who have programs to help them and things like that. It is a wonderful experience when you have a wonderful film festival to go to. It's a horrible experience when you have a horrible film festival to go to. Should you spend thousands of dollars submitting to film festivals today? No, absolutely not. Mm-hmm. If you believe that you're going to go to a film festival, someone's going to watch your movie and offer you a feature film off of a short, you're dreaming.
Yeah.
If you think you're going to make a feature film and go to a film festival and you're going to get a distribution deal, you're kind of dreaming. More likely you're dreaming.
Yeah.
Chances are very, very slim. If you're not at one of the top, let's just put it this way. If you're in one of the top 5 festivals, the chances of you getting a distribution deal are slim. If you go to second, third, fourth tier festivals, it's pretty much non-existent.
Right.
In today's world. Mm-hmm. That wasn't like that 10 years ago. I'm talking about today and right now as we speak.
Yeah.
So you'll get a lot of hucksters. Like I already had a couple people contact me for MEG off of CineQuest because I was in CineQuest, and they just want me to pay them. So I'm like, go f yourselves.
Yeah.
And I actually went along with it just because I guess they didn't do their research on me.
Yeah.
So they don't know that I'm what I know.
Yeah.
So I was like, so let me ask you a question. How are you gonna get into what platforms? Oh, we could get you into iTunes and we can get you to Netflix, and I'm like, okay, so let me ask you a question. So what's the big difference between you guys and Distributor?
Right.
Because I could just pay $700, $800 to get into iTunes right now.
Right.
And you're asking for $3,000. Well,
It's all BS.
Yeah,
Right.
I thought so. So you got to educate yourselves about the process, and there's so many filmmakers who get taken by these hucksters as well. So again, back to the film festival question. I do love them. If you go to a good one, it's not the end all be all. If you haven't gone through the experience of taking a film through a festival, you should definitely do it. I've just been at so many festivals in my career. I mean, with just my short films alone, I've been to over 600 festivals,
Right. Wow.
around the world. So I've just been to a lot of festivals. I've seen a lot of shit, and I just see what the reality is.
Yeah.
And then I just got back from Sundance, interviewing like insane people.
Yeah.
Talking like real producers, real directors. I had Elijah Wood on and all this kind of stuff.
Awesome. Yep. I saw that.
It was such an awesome. It was such an awesome experience. And I hear it from the guys at the top. Like, man, it's tough. I'm like, it's tough for you. You've got stars in your movie.
Right.
You're in Sundance in competition, and you're telling me it's tough.
Yeah.
I'm like, so, when I talk about things on Indie Film Hustle, when I talk in general about stuff, I try to give people the reality of it. It's not pretty.
Yeah.
But it's from my perspective of being in this business so long, and also, I've mastered and worked on I've either worked on as an editor or colorist, an online editor, or as a deliverables on probably over 50, 60 features
Right.
in my career. So I've seen everything with what happens with distributors and what happens with filmmakers and how they get their money and how you're not going to get the money back, and and I see a lot of one-timers that come in. They got their nut all in. They rolled their dice on that one movie. Like, I'm gonna just mortgage my house. I'm like, you're an idiot. You don't mortgage your house. You don't do stuff like that. I know it's very romantic to think that, and it's very romantic to say that. Like, oh, I'm gonna do it like Kevin Smith did. He sold his comic books and put it on his credit card. I'm like, those days are not here anymore, guys.
Yeah.
But you know what days are here? Make a feature for $2,000. Those days are here.
Exactly.
Those days are here.
Yeah.
So don't jump into the old school mentality with today's technology. It doesn't make any sense.
Right. No, that's
That's a good point.
yeah, it's an excellent point too, especially for just for everybody that's listening and all that other stuff. Just sort of breaking that illusion, I think, is important because it's perpetuating this lie of what could happen, and it's making a lot of people very wealthy, honestly. And it's a scary it's a scary thing. But yeah, no, I appreciate you going into that.
Real quick, I mean, you have to understand that the Hollywood sells a dream.
Yeah.
And film festivals and film schools specifically, they sell a dream.
Yes.
If you guys haven't seen De Palma, have you guys seen De Palma?
No, actually.
The documentary, Brian De Palma?
No, I was interested in. Didn't get a chance to see it.
You've got to watch it. Because it's basically De Palma just saying F you to everybody. I love it. It's just because he's like, I'm in Europe, I'm not making movies in Hollywood, F everybody. And he just tells you the straight up truth. And one thing he says is like, oh, these kids in film school. Like he said it straight up. He's like, how many people do you think going out of film school are going to make a living like I did? Like what, 1%? Maybe 2% are going to be directors making a living as directing? Maybe 1%. Out of the tens of thousands of kids going to film school, spending obscene amounts of money on tuition, getting up loans. When you go to film school and you walk out with a $60,000 or $80,000 loan, you're an idiot. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to do something like that anymore. Because you're never going to make your money back. Did you know how long it's going to take for you to even make a decent wage coming out of film school?
Yeah,
like,
it's true.
I mean, it took me years. By the way, my film school cost $18,000.
Right.
That was the full sale. Now full sale costs like $8. It's ridiculous. It's great. It's fun. It's an experience. If you can get grants and scholarships, awesome. Go for it. But if not, you, like Werner Herzog says, you can learn the basics of filmmaking in 2 weeks.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. 1,000%.
Sorry, I didn't cut you off.
No, I agree with that so much. I mean, even in my film school experience, a lot of it was so much out of the classroom. I started wondering why I was in the classroom in the first place. I was making, we actually were making films on our own, which is we would take school equipment. That was true, but in a lot of cases we own the equipment. Now we own the equipment too, but it was sort of a crazy thing. Like I don't really see what I'm gaining in the classroom at all. But you're so right about that.
No, I think film school is great for people who don't. If you don't want to do the work and don't want to hustle to get the information, then film school is for you. Right. Because they're gonna spoon feed you a bunch of stuff that you could have easily learned. It's just like I'm gonna throw it up. Like I'm gonna go kick it old school. Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting. Mm-hmm. One day tomorrow you're gonna wake up and the education you paid $150,000 for, you could have picked up with 35 cents in late fees at the library. But the difference is that you could do that now on YouTube. Yeah. You can learn the basics of filmmaking on YouTube for free right now.
Absolutely.
And then if you want to go more in detail, you pay for a few online courses, $20, $50, $100 here and there. For under $2,000, let's say, you can get a full-blown cinematography master course, a directing course, a screenwriting course, how to work with actors course.
Absolutely.
Everything that you need, and you're ready to rock and roll. But you got to hustle. And if you don't have that hustle gene at the beginning of your career, guess what? You're done.
Absolutely.
Because you will not, no matter what film school you come out of, you're going to have to hustle. And if you don't have the hustle to get the information that you need to get your career launched, you're probably not going to have the hustle to make a career work.
I so much agree with that. And speaking of hustle, can we talk about indie film hustle and how awesome it is? It's a website, it's a podcast, it's a thing that I discovered a while ago, and I said, yes, this is for me. This is for the filmmaker that leaves film school and says, how do I do it like Alex Ferrarri? How do I go out there and just go and continue and keep doing it? The people that have the initiative to continue and stuff like that, your platform is for them. And can you just talk about? I think it's becoming a movement. I really do. But
I hope so.
How did you start it? And what was your mission?
My mission when I started Indie Film Hustle was I was kind of tired of seeing all of these filmmakers walk through my doors and post, getting their asses handed to them, left and right. There was rarely a success story. Rarely a success story. Out of all the projects I've worked on, I'm gonna say a handful have a career. Yeah. Or are able to make a living doing what they do as a filmmaker. Like there's like minuscule percentage of people. And I'm like, this makes no sense to me. I just don't understand how and why filmmakers in today's world can't make a living doing their art. Yeah. And it just pissed me off. So I was like, well, I checked the playing field, if you will, of websites out there in this niche, in this space of filmmaking, independent filmmaking. And you've got your no film schools, you've got a handful of other big sites, but really there's not a lot. Yeah. There really isn't. Other than no film school, really, there's not a whole heck of a lot of quality websites talking real stuff. And I couldn't really find a lot that talked real, like no one that has my voice, from my perspective. Yeah. From someone who's actually been in the business for 20 years. Made a living in the business for all those years, and survived in a small market like Miami and then flourishing in a market like LA. I just didn't find anyone talking about it. So I was like, you know what? Let me throw my hat in the ring. I don't say I'm a guru by any stretch. I don't know everything by any stretch. I'm still in it with everybody that listens to me. I'm learning as I go. Yeah. And I'm trying to get my shit off the ground. Yeah. But I've been around the block a few times. I've seen a lot of stuff. I have a lot of experience in certain areas of the film business. So I was like, well, let me see if I can help and throw a real voice out into the field here and tell people how it really is, because I don't hear anybody talking about how it really is. We can write articles all day about how to write story structure and how to write a winning pitch. And don't get me wrong, I have those articles on my site as well. But that's one way, and that's one side of it. But then there's the other stuff. I'm like I just talked about film festivals. Like, no one talks like that about film festivals.
Yeah, it's true.
No one talks about like that about film schools.
It's true.
Not really. Not anybody who has an audience that's listening. Yeah. You might find a guy ranting on Facebook or on Twitter, or on YouTube, but they don't have an audience, generally speaking. Yeah. So I wanted to just go more than 3-point lighting. I wanted to go past, how to edit on Avid or how to edit in Final Cut. So I put this podcast out and started talking real shit about the business.
Yeah.
And those early podcasts are pretty embarrassing, though. The way I talk is like you can tell the difference. If you guys go back and listen to like episode like 4 or 5, one of my good buddies, Scott McMahon over at Film Trooper. Filmtrooper.com, and Jason Buff over at Indie Film Academy.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them, we have a mastermind. We kind of, meet every week to talk about our websites, our business.
That's
and,
awesome.
Kind of help each other out. And they told me a while ago, they said, Alex, can you stop doing this? They go, what? What's going on? He goes, this is what we hear. We hear the intro to your show. It's like, and here's Alex Ferrarri, all this kind of stuff. And then you hear, welcome, guys. How you doing? This is Alex. Very, very excited to be here today. It's going to be a really packed episode of Indie Film Hustle Podcast. So ever since then, I hear those episodes and I cringe. So if you hear my episodes now, the energy is up.
It's true, right? It's true.
It's so much more poppy. You can hear my confidence has grown dramatically after 150 episodes, just as a speaker. We noticed that too doing Film Valor every week. We call it the used car salesman voice because it's like you have to go in there like, here's your brand new car almost every week, and sometimes you just don't feel like it.
It's awkward.
Yeah, it is awkward. But you know what? You have to go that far in order to project any level of like excitement about what because you are genuine. We're like genuinely excited every week to be doing what we're doing. But sometimes you just you're tired, you haven't slept or whatever else, and you have to like go out of your way to. And we call it the used car salesman voice. But it's really funny that you bring that up.
Yeah, it's just like she's like, how you doing? I'm Alex Ferrarri. It's like it's horrible. It's horrendous. But anyway, so I started putting this podcast out, and in the podcast world, there's very few people doing it, and nobody talking like I was talking about stuff.
That's true. Though.
So, and there's other avenues and there's other perspectives like Film Trooper and Indie Film Academy and I know Film School and a bunch of other podcasts out there that do what they do, but no one with my personality, my experience, and my perspective, not experience, but more my perspective on the business, coming from where I'm coming from. And when I launched it, within 3 months, I was the #1 filmmaking podcast on iTunes, purely because I was the only one doing it weekly. And then I said, well, one's not enough. Let me do 2 a week. Yeah. So I started doing 2 podcasts a week, which is insane. It's insane. This week, I'm just gonna get one done this week because I'm in the middle of prepping for a big project that I just can't get away from. I might see if I can squeeze in something tomorrow, maybe. Because I hate not doing a podcast. It drives me nuts.
Yeah. Yep.
But I just like, dude, I gotta focus on my project.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyways, I did the podcast, and it kind of took a life of its own up, and it's become very, very popular. And then the website started becoming very popular. Now my YouTube channel is starting to grow exponentially as well. Because I just posted my podcast up there originally, and I'm like, people are listening to it on YouTube.
Yeah.
I didn't even think it would happen, but apparently people do.
No, they're great. They really are great, especially for someone who's just looking for, sometimes you're just trying to search for an answer to something, or maybe not even just an answer, but you want the sense that there's other people in the trenches as well. So that's what's so great about it. I mean, that's the power of it. It really is wonderful for that reason. I genuinely.
I appreciate it. I also wanted to kind of put together a community of other filmmakers to help each other. So we have our Facebook group. If you're part of the Indie Film Syndicate, which is my membership site, we have a private group that we all talk to. We all help each other as well. And it's kind of, I've actually met, I call them the tribe. So I've met tribe members out in the world through like at festivals and at Sundance and other, just, I can't say walking in the street, but walking in the street at a festival or at an event or something like that. And it's so funny. At Cinequest, I was with some actors from the movie, and I'm walking around the theater, and then tribe members that came to see the movie came up to me and were like, "Oh my God!" And I'm so excited. I'm always excited to talk to anybody who recognizes me and wants to talk to me. I'm all about. Yeah. I want to help. And they were like, "You're famous." I'm like, "No, I'm not. Shut up." I just found it funny that the actors were jealous. I thought that was hilarious.
No, that's awesome though, man. That's awesome.
So but anyway, so Indie Film Hustle, as a resource, there's over 400 articles and podcasts. There's over 150 podcasts now, and episodes, and they're all range from 20 minutes to an hour, sometimes 2, and there's over 400 posts on there from everything you can imagine, from screenwriting and from production and stuff that you might not even find anywhere else, like how to work with a producer's rep, how to work with a post supervisor, how to handle, how to work with a colorist, what is post production workflow, why not shoot 4K, a bunch of stuff like that you don't see everywhere else.
Yeah.
It's not the standard stuff. So it's been amazing, and to be honest with you, it's helped me as much as I've been able to help the people who listen to me, because it gave me the confidence to go make Meg. Honestly, I was like, wow, you guys really inspired me, because I kind of, just like you just said, that you're like, oh, you just feel like you want to hear somebody else in the struggle.
Yeah.
By doing the podcast and by doing all the stuff I do with Indie Film Hustle, I hear stories. I get emails every day. I get stories every day about people's journey and what the podcast has done for them and what the website's done for them. And I was like, wow, man, if these guys are going out there and hustling, then there's no reason why I can't go out and make my movie.
Yeah.
And it kind of inspired me to do it. I'm like, and I'm going to help everybody and show everybody how I did it and talk about how I did it.
Right.
Exactly. Like, there's a whole post on how I built my camera package for under $2,000.
Right.
So every little nugget cable that I built it with, I lay it all out in there, how to build a rig cheap. Mm-hmm. And I've had a bunch of people from the tribe like, I bought your entire rig, and now I'm shooting my movie.
It's great. It's awesome. It really, really is awesome, and it's very inspiring. And where can people check out Indie Film Hustle and become part of the tribe?
Obviously, indiefilmhustle.com. Mm-hmm. You could also, on iTunes, just type up Indie Film or Filmmaking or Indie Film Hustle, I'll pop up. And the Indie Film Syndicate is my membership site, where you have access to, I think like 400 or 500 video lessons on filmmaking, screenwriting, marketing, such a big freaking deal. Mm-hmm. How to do social media and all that stuff. Let me see. Those are the big places. My personal directing site's alexferrari.com as well. And then I'm on Twitter, Facebook, at Indie Film Hustle, everywhere. So
we'll make sure
and you guys found me on Twitter, right?
We did, yeah, which was awesome. And we'll make sure that we put all of your links below this video as well, so our people can follow you and check everything out too. Cool. And I guess we just have one last question for you that we're very curious about. What do you think is next for you, if you can talk about it?
Well, I made a bold statement last year that I was going to make a movie, and I had no idea how I was going to do it. And then this year I made a bold statement saying, I'm going to make 2 movies this year, and I have no idea how I'm going to do it. So I actually have 2 film ideas that are in the hopper, and I was going to start working on them soon, but then I got a huge post job working with the boys over at Rocket Jump.
Cool.
And I'm doing, I did their show, Dimension 404, which airs on Hulu April 4th. It's an anthology. Dude, it's so awesome.
That's so cool.
It's such an awesome show. The trailer just hit yesterday. And it's amazing cast. Awesome cast. Just monsters and visual effects and 80s. Like, there's an 80s episode that's all about jumping into a video game and fighting a monster. It's fucking great.
That's
awesome. Great show. So I've been on that pretty much forever. So I'm almost done with that. And then I just got hired to do an 8-episode run of a show on Nerdist. So I'm going to be doing a science show called Space Program for Nerdist.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I'm shooting that next week. That's why I can't do a podcast this week.
That's awesome, though.
So yeah, it's really cool. I'm really excited about it. These opportunities have just kind of come up, and they've come up specifically because of Meg and because of Indie Film Hustle and things like that. So as soon as I'm done with the Nerdist thing, if nothing else comes up, work-wise, I'm gonna start working on shooting my next, at least one feature this year.
That's great.
Which I have a very small little film, and then I've got another bigger one that I want to do as well. But those are the things that I'm doing right now. And the one thing I wanted to say too is, as far as if I can say anything inspirational at all to filmmakers listening, is that, and it's worked for me. When you sit around doing nothing and just talking about shit, nothing really happens. Mm-hmm. So when you start just moving, It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. If you just start moving towards something, start making stuff, start putting it out there, you have no idea the doors that the universe opens for you.
Yeah.
And I'm living example of that, because I literally, and we didn't talk about this, but I did kind of jump out of the business, not completely, but a little bit, because I used to own a gourmet shop. In Studio City here, I opened up a gourmet shop with my family, and because I was kind of pissed off at the business, and still working and posting stuff. But I left the business, so when I came out with Indie Film House, I literally had been really off the radar for better part of 2 or 3 years, other than doing some post jobs here and there. So I came out of basically nowhere and launched Indie Film House and just started working my ass off, pumping out content, helping people, just putting it all out there.
It's awesome.
And then all of a sudden, things start opening up. Doors start opening up. Opportunities start opening up. And it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. And the people that I have access to now, the relationships I've built because of that podcast and because of Meg and all this stuff, it's just getting up and doing something.
Right.
And you'll be amazed at what forces come to help you.
It's great. It's really, really great. Listen, I want to just say it really was an honor to speak to you. It really, really was. We love everything you're doing. We can't wait to see the everything else that you put out there. And we just want to thank you again so much for your time and for being here.
Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate you you coming out and asking me. I'll talk anywhere, so I appreciate you.
It's great.
You're reaching out to me. Thank you.
Okay, absolutely. Thanks so much again.
Thanks,
we'll
Alex.
talk to you.